how the discipline of your mindset and your work ethic in the gym can help you overcome even the worst possible diagnosis. You are listening to the Mindset Forge podcast. I'm Barton Bryan, your host. I'm always talking to men 40 to 60 about how to maximize this chapter of life. It's a tough time to not be on your game, to not be disciplined, focused, have daily habits, be thinking about strength training, cardiovascular exercise, and staying as healthy and as fit, both mentally, physically, as possible. That's my goal, always to help you guys get a little bit better and come up with new concepts, new ideas that you can put into your life, both for discipline, for daily habits, and to maximize your strength. Today, I'm interviewing Randy Herring. He's an author, and he's gone through some major battles in his life with testicular cancer. Not once, not twice, but 3 times. And you know how he got through it? Well, you got to listen to the episode. But you're going to find out how all the things that we're talking about today reinforced and helped him overcome the challenges that faced him because of cancer. This is an excellent episode because I would definitely listen to it with the ears of like, what can Randy teach me about what I need to do right now to become stronger, healthier, more disciplined in case something like what he went through happens to me? How do I get through it? How do I use my brain, my body, and working out to make sure I'm at my best? All right, before we kick this off, if you haven't been to my YouTube channel yet, check it out because I've got some great videos on strength training, on mobility, flexibility, things that you can do to keep your body as healthy as you're doing the weight training so you don't get injured and you're developing total body movement patterns that are going to maximize your results. Check that out. And finally, if you'd like to hire me as a coach, you can always do that by sending me an email, barton@bartonguybryan.com, and we'll set up a discovery call, see if we're a fit for each other. All right, without further ado, my interview with Randy Herring. I'm here with Randy Herring, a 61-year-old athlete and really an author who's gone through a very specific chapter of his life and has come out the other side to really talk to people, men, really in that age range that I'm focused on, really helping make an impact with that 40 to 60 group and how to maintain or build muscle, stay healthy, and use fitness to really maximize your health and live your best life. And so your book, The Fitness Mindset, you've got 7 peak performance habits to stay in incredible shape. And so let's just dive in with those. The first one is choose proper food, macronutrient ranges, and to really help promote your goals, to change your body and change your physique.
It's a very important element in getting fit, yes. But in my book, I talk more about keep moving your body. In my book, I have the ranges that people can use to discover for themselves what the best macronutrient range is good for them for their goal. And not just their goal, but their activity level.
Right. And one of the scientific information coming out is that, like, obviously there's 2 ways to keep and even build muscle tissue. One obviously is working out, like lifting weights, strength training.
Yep.
But the other one is actually increasing your protein intake. And so, especially for women, I know this is a men's focused podcast, but it works for both of us, men and women. But there's a lot of new information for men and women on how just increasing your macronutrient ratios around protein can help you keep and even gain a little bit of muscle mass, especially if you've been at a protein deficit for so long. So, so his book obviously goes into a lot of how to stay healthy, how to stay optimal, but also why your story is important for men to hear. Take us back at some years to when your health started to kind of really change and how what happened to you and how you were able to deal with that.
Well, if you want to hear the whole story in a nutshell, basically, I was 15 years old. I felt my confidence was pretty low. I was skinny, and I didn't have many friends in school, in high school, and so I bought a small weight set for myself, and thinking that I would work out, thinking that exercise would help me build muscle. That was my frame of mind. So what I did, without not knowing anything about nutrition, but eating correctly, protein, carbs, whatnot, can even gain weight, I started working out in the morning before school, when I got home in the afternoon, and in the evening, just doing what I could, having fun, in my garage on my toy box, what I still had for my bench. So I did that for about 6 months. I did gain, but only like 5 or 10 pounds within 6 months. So then I sent away for this food regimen from Universal Bodybuilding, and I don't recommend this, but it did work, and it does work. But I ate and ate and ate every day for 6 meals a day. I would eat two breakfasts before going to school. Wake up at 6 o'clock in the morning. Again, this is I had the desire to change myself. This is what it's all about, the desire. If you don't follow the what you should be doing, then you're not going to change. And let me go forward here. I used to work at General Nutrition Center, and I asked these guys, so they want to gain weight, right? I asked these guys,
Mm-hmm.
so what are you eating to gain weight? And here they are, they're saying, oh, I'm eating egg whites, I'm eating chicken. It's like, no, eat high calorie foods, right? It's protein and carbs. So going back now when I was 15, so in about 1 year, oh, I'm sorry, about in 8 months, I gained about 50 pounds. Now I was skinny, and so I had more fat. I had fat actually. So I felt good about myself. But then I slimmed down and I sent away for a program, Arnold Schwarzenegger's program. And in about 2 or 3 months, I lost I think, about 30 pounds of weight in about, I think, 3 months, 3 or 4 months. So all in all, I mean, I have a before picture and after picture on my website, uh, my story, and that's within the year that I did it in. So if I did that, I felt better, and I felt more confident. I was, and I felt more athletic, which I was, and everything again. It changed my life.
When you're 15, 16, 17, it's almost like everything in your body is wants to grow, right? You're literally
Right.
growing taller. You have all these new hormones, things that are like pumping, that want your body to adapt to whatever you put to it. So you can do crazy things like work out 3 times a day, and just, I mean, and there's optimal ways to do it, I'm sure. And even the Arnold Schwarzenegger like workout program was probably way too many sets. Like,
Oh,
just
sure, you bet.
that was probably what, 1980 or 1978, something like that.
Yeah, late
Uh,
70s. Yeah.
yeah. But I mean, and I'm, 48. So I grew up still, like, I remember buying the Encyclopedia of Bodybuilding,
Mm.
Arnold Schwarzenegger's great Bible of bodybuilding, and just, eating up all the different arm exercises and things that I was supposed to do. And it, we're learning quickly, in this kind of world of like fitness and bodybuilding
Yeah.
and kind of physique, that, you don't necessarily need that much volume to still, really adapt and get strength. But it's also cool to go through that journey. And I think there's a
Yep.
mental and mindset side of that, like whether or not it was optimal or not, whether or not you could have
Mm.
done it with a little bit less food or a little bit less, body fat gained, it still was like a testament to who you decided you wanted to be at a time where a lot of people, and especially nowadays, like a lot of people are just giving up on health and
Mm.
fitness. Like they're not good at sports. They don't get any validation from being like from their physique, and so they end up like playing video games, like staying
Mm.
inside, kind of being a gamer, or getting like kind of, and this is kind of the reality of today, especially with social media and all that kind of stuff. You can kind of insulate yourself from kind of the scariness of like
Mm.
putting yourself out there and, getting caught with your shirt off. I mean, that was always like
Right, right,
a
right.
scary
Yeah.
thing for me. It was like, oh my God, I have to take my shirt off, because I was chubby. I was chubby in junior high,
Mm.
middle school, 7th, 8th, ninth grade. I was chubby. And then the summer between 9th and 10th, I got chicken pox and lost 20
Wow.
pounds. In about
Whoa.
10 days, I just like sweated, and I woke up. I mean, it couldn't have been that quick, but like it literally in 10 days, I
Mm.
woke up and I was like 6 foot 150 and just like a little bit of
Whoa.
muscle, but mostly. But I was like kind of the chubby, like had,
Yeah.
kind of boy breasts, like,
Mm.
just the kind of
Right.
awkward, chubby kid in junior high. And I determined at that moment, I'm like, I am never getting overweight again. I am, because
Right.
I was already trying to work out. I just didn't know what I was doing, and I
Mm.
didn't, my body hadn't really kicked in, and with puberty and
yeah.
that kind of stuff. So anyway, it's such an important kind of moment that you found, in that 15-year-old, 16-year-old self that you're like, this is me. And so fast forward to later on in life when that mindset and that kind of discipline that you had when you were 15, 16 came back to help you.
So within a year, like you were saying too, that I didn't know exactly what I was doing. I just did it. And everything back then was not optimal. It wasn't, but it was a good quick start for my body, and it got me more interested in knowing what I did and could do. So moving forward to, boy, I was 15, 16. Now I'm 61. So I've been working out now for 45 years. So during that time of those 45 years, I've also been working out in other countries where I was. So I had to do what I had to do to maintain my health and my fitness and my strength, or to lose fat, gain muscle for my wedding, to look good, right? But it wasn't until a couple years ago that how focused I am in training, and actually chapter 2 talks about focusing on you exercising in the gym, what you're doing at that moment, not looking around, which people do all the time. Other people, it's like, wow, check it out. What are they doing? Wow, nice. So they tend to lose focus, but you're there for yourself. It's a selfish thing, which is a good thing. Focus on you, chapter 2, and I actually wrote chapter 2 in my book that was written mostly in the gym with me knowing what I was going through in my head, my body. I take a small short break, write down my notes here, what I was feeling, and with all of that in mind and my experience in journaling, pretty much summed up chapter 2, and that's keep your focus and focus on you. So with that in mind, I use that, I think, to my benefit and with my knowledge to help others to focus on themselves and not other people in the gym, to do your task at hand. Just like the movie John Wick. You've seen that, right? John Wick. He is so focused, laser focused on doing the task. I mentioned him in the last part of my chapter 2.
How many people die because of his dog? Oh my God. What a great story.
And he was
killed my dog. I'm going to
man.
kill everybody.
Yeah. My point in mentioning him in my book is that he had a task and he wanted to do it, and he did it. He was focused on that task. That's what we should do in the gym. Focus on us while we're there. Every rep, not wait for the last rep, but every single rep should count. So that's what makes a difference with training, the quality, right? When you focus on the quantity of the training, like I did my 3 sets of 10, for example, to me that doesn't make sense because they're probably holding out on their first set. There's no way, if you're going all out with the quality of your training, you can perform the same number of repetitions your last set as you did on your first set. It should be less.
Right.
So that's
if
the main difference.
If you're doing 135 times 10, resting 2 minutes, doing another 135 times 10, and then the third set you get 135 times 10 again, it means the first set was nowhere close to fatiguing your muscle. So
exactly. That's what's holding a lot of people back, I believe, too. It's that mindset. It's that 3 by 10 mindset.
Yeah. Well, 2 things I love about what you said. First thing is, and I talked about this in a recent podcast, is kind of the honorable selfishness of working out. Like, you have to honor the time that you have right there in the gym or whatever you're doing. Like, it's not about anybody else. It's not about who's texting you. It's not about what everyone else is doing. It's about your workout, your time, your work, right? And I think it's easy to do that when you have a program. But the problem with the program is exactly what you said. We start getting addicted to the number. And it's like, well, the program says 3 sets of 10, that's what I'm going to do. Check the box. I did well. But the other side of that is exactly what you're saying. Like, you've got to feel every rep. You got to be getting at least close to failure. They talk about rate of perceived exertion, 10 being like failure, 9 being like 1 rep before failure. Like, we need to be getting 8, 9, in that range at least, per set, so that we're really getting stimulation of the muscle, and then the other piece of that is like people also just often go too heavy. And I think specifically for this 40 to 60, I mean, you're 61, so you've kind of been through this chapter that I'm on right now, and that a lot of my listeners are on, is like, you don't want to come out the other side so injured that you just can't, you can't do it anymore. So you have to be smart about, the reps and the sets and the weight and what, making sure you're stimulating the muscle effectively and not just overloading the joint. Talk about that.
Exactly. So when I'm looking at social media, Instagram, Facebook, and looking at these videos of these bodybuilders or powerlifters squatting with the tremendous amounts of weights, deadlifting. So these people become iconic to a lot of people, and they want to do the same thing, right? They want to follow what they're doing. And so I cringe in seeing young people do that just for like a 1 rep max. Right. 5 reps, okay, good. But 1 rep max out your weight because you want to do what this person did in the gym, who has a lot more experience, who is, awfully, bigger and more knowledgeable. Strength training is a very good thing to do. It's the optimal thing to do. But on the other end of the spectrum, it can be very dangerous if people aren't educated and knowing what works best for them too, and just following the other person.
Yeah, no, and that's the I'm not enough problem. If I feel not enough, and I go to Instagram and I start scrolling through and I see this 30-year-old power lifter doing, deadlifts with 495 for reps. And I'm like, man, I wish I could do that. And then the next time at the gym, I'm like, all of a sudden I'm like, maybe I wonder what I could do. Maybe I could put 4 plates on, and when you're young, like, there's a little bit more flexibility in the terms of like your body's more adaptable and less likely to just get injured from one dumb idea, like just trying to max out and having no idea like what your body can and can't do. But when you get into your 40s and 50s, like you're playing with fire if you're going in there without a plan and without an awareness of like what your body's capable of and what it's not capable of. I always attribute to like music, right? If you tell someone to play loud, it's going to be one volume, bang, 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 bang on the piano. Play soft, bang, bang, bang. Like there's no dynamic. There's 2 dynamics, loud and soft, right? You get a newcomer in the gym, they're either going to, they've got very few variables to work from. They're just because they don't have the coordination, they don't have the awareness of what their body can and can't do. They don't have any muscle maturity. And that's what you learn as you do the reps and you do the day in and day out, the week in, week out, the year in and year out. You're talking about 40 plus years, of working out myself. I mean, I had some moments where I was traveling, I didn't work out as consistently, but for the most part, since I was 13, 14 years old, I've been trying to get in the gym and working out, and I'm 48 now. So I understand the nuances of like, overloading the fatiguing the body, but not so much that I regret it the next day. And how many low back loading exercises I should be doing. If I'm doing a back day and I have a T-bar row where I'm wearing a belt and I'm loading a lot of weight onto my, into my low back so I can row it, I'm probably thinking about like a chest supported row or a cable movement that's not going to continue to add more and more load into my low back, because at some point the low back fatigues and then it just becomes an issue of like, hey, I'm, the next day my low back's sore or potentially injured. Like, so there's all those little nuances we have to consider, especially as we get older.
Right.
But there's also medical stuff that you went through that I think is really important to hear, and I really want you to go into that. Not just you as a lifetime lifter, but when you had some medical stuff come up and how fitness and working out really helped you see that through.
Okay, so I am a three-time testicular cancer survivor,
Yeah.
and the first occurrence of cancer occurred in 2009. I suspected because I looked down there, it's like, wow, it's not normal. But you know what? I went to the doctor and to check myself out, and lo and behold, the doctor didn't see anything different about me. So I kind of found it myself, right? So part of what I've learned through
Right now,
bodybuilding slash
everyone listening right now is going like, "What did he see?" like, like what?
don't visualize that, right?
What? Yeah, let's like
No.
imagine. But here we go. Back to your
But
story.
but I want to go back to that. Just what strength training, weight training, whatever, it has made me more aware of my body,
hmm
and that's a big plus. I think that people have when they actually exercise and work out. So I was aware of this growth, and that was 2009. Oh, so I was actually in the airport going to Florida to see my brother and his wife for vacation, along with my two boys who were then, I think, 2009. Wow, they're pretty young. And so I got a phone call from the doctor at the airport saying that he wants to see me. Well, I said, sorry, you can't because I'm on vacation now. So I just went with it, had fun, came back, took care of surgery, business, and
hmm
took care of that.
Yeah.
And so everything was good. I didn't
To
take
be clear,
any.
did you have both testicles or one testicle removed?
Uh, they removed my left testicle, just
Okay.
one, my left
Okay.
one. So now visualize everybody. I got one testicle left. Okay. So then, so I still had testosterone, right? Okay, that's good.
hmm
Okay. So I worked out, did my thing here. Lo and behold, 10 years to the almost the exact same, well, month and date, I had a second recurrence of cancer, testicular, my right testicle had cancer. So I went in and they removed it, and I had one round of chemo. That's all. It was kind of made me a little sick, my first time having it, and so therefore at that time I had no testosterone, because I had no balls. Seriously, right? So male
That's the only
hormone
place you're
is,
going to get testosterone from.
right?
Right.
So, but I continued to work out. Of course, the doctor had me on TRT, testosterone replacement therapy,
Sure.
that I was taken. So this is after my second
Do you
round.
remember the dosage?
Yeah, the first dosage was, I think, 100 milligrams, uh, zero point 0.5 cc.
Yeah,
Yeah, I think it was zero point 0.5
per
cc
week. Per week.
per week. Yes, because then
Yeah.
I had to get a check and see where my numbers were at. And of
Yeah.
course, they have a range where you should be at. That's
Of course.
optimal
Right.
for health. And so I had everything adjusted based on that range. So that was 2019 when I had my going back, sorry, my right testicle removed, and so no testosterone on testosterone replacement therapy. That's actually when a few months ago that I decided to make a transformation of myself because I got fat. I went through divorce, and I remember this too. I was in Las Vegas. My mom lives there, and she was sitting across from me at the table at a restaurant, and she says to me, "This is mom, right?" She says to me, "Honey, are you okay?" I said, "No, mom, I'm not. My jeans are tight. I don't feel good about myself." And that was just for me, a magical moment. It's like, you know what? I'm tired of it. So I went back home to Spokane, Washington, put myself on a training regimen here and eating well and changed my eating habits, eating cleaner. Unfortunately, I got the cancer, again, now fast forward to the second occurrence in July 2019. And so I didn't start writing my book until I think a year after that, because then COVID-19 hit. Right. So I wrote part of it. And so I thought, you know what? I'm going to use COVID-19. I'm going to challenge myself, because with the government closing down the gyms, of course, made me angry. It wasn't very, even, any kind of fitness enthusiast would be upset. So I worked out at home, did my wall sets, did my bands, did my cardio with my bands too as well. And you know what? Within 50 days, in my book, 50 days, I was stronger, I was fitter, and I had more definition, all because of my training regimen I put myself through every single day. That's the mindset.
Yeah.
So then now fast forward, 2021, I published my book, and then about 5 months after that, I got a third recurrence of testicular cancer. Okay, so I asked the doctor, how's that possible?
There's no testicles balls to get cancer in. Right.
How's that possible?
How does that work? It's a miracle.
Right. So he told me, well, before baby boys are born, their testicles sit right here.
Yeah.
And when they're born, they actually drop down. So the drainage of my, whatever it is, it sits right here. They found the cancer right here, behind my, just below my chest cavity.
Yeah.
And so they did a biopsy, for sure it was. I went through 40 bags of chemotherapy in 10 weeks. Okay. During that time, the worst thing that I experienced was constipation. I could not eat, I could not drink, because I was so constipated, because the medication they give you, because the chemotherapy caused this too. And I'm a person who eats 6 times a day. I need to poop, but I couldn't. I didn't want to eat because I was basically walking poop. But I still worked out what I could in the gym. I actually was doing 315-pound deadlifts, 2 sets of 10. My hair was, I lost my hair by then. It's, on social media. Proud of that myself, because look what I could do, even go through chemotherapy.
Right.
And so after all of that was said and done, the chemo and the cancer, I got blood clots from those two things. So the doctor took me off of testosterone, and this was another challenge. Very upsetting, right? Guys need testosterone. That's what makes them guys. The drive, right? But you know what? I was really angry with him, my doctor. But a challenge. Here's a challenge. I'm going to work out. I'm going to go all out. And you know what? I really believe that it's not testosterone that helps you build muscle, but protein. Eating well, right? Break down tissue in the gym. Eating well, protein builds the tissue back up.
Right.
So that's why I say on social media at one point, can a man live without testosterone? Can a man work out without testosterone? Can he make improvements? And all those answers are yes, yes, yes. And so
you had a point in which you had 0 testosterone.
Exactly.
And you were still working out and still getting stronger.
I wouldn't say stronger, but I would say I was holding my own.
You were maintaining your muscle.
I believe I was. With stronger, I would say, whenever you say strong, I'm always comparing myself to what I did in my journal last time with a certain weight. So if it means like another rep or two of the same weight, yeah, I was getting stronger. Yeah. So,
Yeah.
so that was a challenge, and and that's when I actually revised my preface in my book because I wanted to add that in there. That yeah, you can. I had a lot of hormonal imbalances and changes, and I still do. And this sling's been bothering me for 6 weeks because I had rotator cuff surgery 6 weeks ago because of all the heavy lifting for 45 years. No regrets, man. No regrets. But when this gets repaired, I'll be back in the gym full bore. But
Yeah.
that doesn't mean I wasn't working out. I still have this one arm. I still have this my right side of my body where I still worked out. I still work out. You can still do it. I'm
Yeah.
still good.
Well,
But
one of the biggest things that I mean, all people, but men specifically, do not want to do as they get into their 50s and 60s and beyond is lose muscle. Lose that muscle mass, and because it's not really a factor when you're 40 and 50, but when you're getting into your late 60s, early 70s, that's when you start falling and busting your hip or shattering your femur or doing something that basically is like the determining factor for how quickly you're going to die. Right? Like the numbers for like people in their 70s who fall and bust their hip, like the people that do that, like for the amount of people that die in the next year after that hip injury is exponential. It's like 60%. Yep. It's ridiculous because when our leg strength, our ability to decelerate our knee, our ability to stabilize our hip, we fall, we step off a curb, we fall to the ground, and obviously the bone densities is going down too. All those things play into it. And so like the work you do now, right? The work you do now at 61 like you are, but me 48, everyone wants to go to the gym and build a bunch of muscle. And, the older you get, the less likely that's going to happen unless you go on a high dose of TRT.
You have to be realistic. Right.
You got to have
right?
realistic goals.
You have to.
But remember that everybody else is dropping body muscle year after year. And if you are gaining a little bit or even maintaining what you have, you are going the opposite direction for most men that are not
exactly. That's the
training.
point. Stay ahead of the game before, in all due respects, before you lose some of when you get older. Right. So staying ahead of the game, like you're mentioning here, people do. They're not aware of their posture, where their leg, where they're walking or whatnot, and yes, they get hurt when they get older. So part of, again, going back to bodybuilding or weight training, strength training, it makes you aware of your body and your posture and your movements, your biomechanical movements. That's a great benefit when you get older. So, I gotta add to that. I'll tell you too that I was taking the only medication I take is Coumadin right now, okay, for my blood clots.
Mm-hmm.
Before that, I was taking gabapentin and an antidepressant, but the antidepressant was to curb my hot and cold flashes I've had without taking testosterone when he had me off of that before. But I decided just to keep myself on that. But when I read about Coumadin slowing down your brain, and I decided to just basically stop taking it cold turkey and this antidepressant. And so during my past few days, since Friday actually, I don't consider myself a super person, but having withdrawals from those is a big thing. But you know what? It doesn't last forever. I always say to some people, we have our cycles. Life goes up and down, but it doesn't last forever.
Right.
So when I start feeling better without the medications and how I'm feeling now, then I'm going to be picking them more up to speed, of course. Not going full bore, but being smart in my training and being smart in what I eat and being smart in how I interact with people, what I say and what I do. So, I think the most important thing that I want to tell people out there is keeping your mind active, because the body does follow the brain, the mind. And by saying that, I mean, read and digest books that are beneficial for you in self-improvement. My degree is in philosophy. I've taught philosophy in college, and that's my second passion next to fitness. And so that's a real big thing for me. And I think for a lot of people out there, because we have a lot of things out there. Keep your mind active, not focused on what you did before, and relishing those moments of like, look what I did, look at me, look what I did back then here. But fast forward to the future and not live in the past. That to me is a big deal, because I think a lot of people in my age, in my school days, they relish on the past too much, but not the future for what still lies ahead for them. I'm 61, and I read and study philosophy books. I'm actually working on my next book coming up, hopefully get published this month, A Philosophy of Life for Personal Growth, for personal and spiritual growth.
Right.
So it's just not fitness. It's the way you live your life and your mindset. And people can have a mindset, and they don't want to change, right? I mean, I know a lot of people like that.
Right.
That to me is unfortunate, because you have to remain open to change.
Yeah,
that's the only way you can improve yourself.
Right. It's that fixed mindset versus a growth mindset. And
exactly
what I love that you said, you're just talk about kind of the fitness is, some people like assume, he just likes to be in the gym. He's a gym rat. But working out is first of all, it's a mental exercise done physically. That is my first trainer, Gary Mann, back in high school, would always say to me, it's like, it's a mental exercise. You are teaching your brain to be stronger and adapt to more and more discomfort. Like, that is what we're doing through the fitness. But
cool.
The other thing is, because we don't toil in the fields all day, and we don't go off to war or, have to fight our neighbors for resources, right? Like, we don't have these kind of fight or flight things happening all the time. Like, the gym is almost like an opportunity for us to daily test our strength, our ability, our mindset, our discipline, all these things. And it's really a proving ground for who you think you are, right? Like, we are what we do every day. And if you're somebody who goes to the gym every day, puts in the work, challenges yourself, pushes yourself, like, that is who you are. And that is that's something to like rest your confidence on. Like, that's somebody, that's a place to say, you know what? I worked hard today. I can go take care of other people. I can go do my thing. I feel good about who I am.
Perfect.
Right.
Yeah.
And I don't think that ever goes away. I mean, it obviously modifies based on like your, how your age and injuries and medical situation. Obviously, you've gone through so much, and here you are, like, kind of telling us, never stop, never, because I think it's when we quit on ourselves. It's when we say, oh, now I have cancer, I can't do any of that stuff anymore. You're almost quitting on that kind of survival instinct to always be improving.
Fight back. I mean, what else is there? I mean, sit in the corner and cry, even the way I'm thinking this last few days here, as I was feeling kind of down, but it's not gonna last forever. And it's knowing what you should be doing, but are not. But it's just stepping into the gym for the first time or second time or third time. It's hard to get back. I understand that for a lot of people, but just making that move can set you off and a whole new, different kind of person.
Just go in the gym for 20 minutes. Go in there.
Yeah, exactly.
Do 3 exercises, 3 sets.
Yep.
I mean, and just until
doesn't have to be intense,
until you
right?
feel a burn.
Yeah.
Do machines if you're nervous about hurting yourself. Do something. The same trainer, Gary Mann, he would say, Barton, do something, even if it's wrong. And it was, it was just a funny joke, but it was like, Like, I mean,
Wow.
we get so caught up in like, well, I don't know what to do, and it's what's like do something, like move weight,
Yeah.
do something that you know is that is a squat, a lunge, a deadlift, a push, a pull, like it's that or a plank, or jog on the treadmill, something, do something, right? Like it's not that
Right.
complicated, it really isn't, and it's doing that daily. And I think Randy, you're a testament to somebody who found fitness early in your life to kind of overcome anxiety and feeling kind of, not socially kind of who you wanted to be, but then allowing that to kind of propel your entire life. And then when real hard challenges like cancer showed up again and again and again, you had that as a benchmark, as a kind of a thing that you kind of sharpened your sword against every day to keep you in the right mental and physical space. And so I honor you, man.
Thank you. Appreciate you saying that. Thank
And I
you.
love that you shared your story in the book, and you've got the 7 habits of high performance. And in the show notes, you guys can find the link to his to where to get the book. You'll also, I'll share his YouTube page. You can watch some of his videos, like when he's got no hair and he's deadlifting 315 pounds. Like, have fun with it. Get to know Randy a little bit more, and remember that, like, especially if you're in your 40s and early 50s, like this is such an important time, and how you get through it will determine how the rest of your, like, the 60s, 70s, and 80s. Because when we're already kind of broken by the time we're 65, it's really hard to kind of pick ourselves back up and get that physique and strength back. And so put in the work.
That's right. Well said.
Awesome, Randy. Hey, thanks so much, man. I appreciate you giving me your time. You know what I got from that interview? You never know what life's going to throw you. But you know what you do know? If you're working out every day, if you're developing your mindset, your discipline, your habits, that no matter what challenges come your way, you're going to have the skill, the knowledge, and the discipline to get through it as best you can. Randy is a testament to hard work, and I definitely recommend checking out his book, Fitness Mindset, where he goes much deeper into those categories, and you can hear more about his mindset and his personal experience. Thanks again for listening to the Mindset Forge podcast.